The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation, make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels, operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Whatcom Fire Department, Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31830. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting on the front bumper face is where you'll find your PA speaker and electronic siren speaker. Moving just slightly to the right, you'll find your mechanical siren. You'll also find dual air horns just off center, and then the portion where your winch feeds through the front bumper. Let's take a look at the top side. When we look down at the top, you'll find two attachment points or tow hooks. Moving just inward of that location, you'll find flat latches which will gain access into the area where your winch is stored. There is also a placard for the 15,000 pound maximum allowable winch rating. On the side of the bumper, you'll find side facing warning lights. Moving up onto the body is where you'll find your headlight cluster. High beam is on the inside and the low beam is on the outside. Moving up from that, the next cluster up, you'll find your turn indicator, and just inside an emergency warning light. On the outside marker light, let's go ahead and look inside the compartment here. This is your Warren winch. You'll find on the passenger side is the free spool or direction, and then on the right hand side near the rear is where you'll plug in for your control for electronic. You'll also find once again the placard for the 15,000 pound maximum rating. Moving over to the driver's side, you'll find an 1.5 inch swivel discharge. Just down beneath that is where you'll find the discharge drain. Moving overhead, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight. Let's take a look at the side of the apparatus. You'll find dual grab handles on both points of entry for firefighters. You'll also find keyed entry points at all doors. Moving just inward of that location between the two doors, you'll find your side-facing or midsection cab warning light. And moving all the way up to the top, you'll find a water tank level indicator. Moving also up to the top of the apparatus is where you'll find your electronic light bar, and then just behind the light bar you'll find your go light, which is a directional spotlight. Let's look inside the cab. First, you'll find two auto eject plugs. First one is the air eject. Moving to the right is going to be your electrical auto eject. Got some close-ups of these in the next few images. When plugged into your auto eject electrical plug, shore power, you'll find that your auto charger activates. And we'll talk a little bit about this throughout the apparatus information. You'll find warning labels and also hazard in addition with danger labels. Please familiarize yourself with these as you work through your apparatus. Located near the right area of the driver's side, you'll find your manufactured by Pierce Manufacturing. It has the date of manufacture, job number. It also has information here that's very helpful for your gross vehicle weight ratings, maximum tire pressures, in addition with fluid capacities and the types of fluids that are required for your apparatus. Let's take a close-up look here down in the lower well where we find the air inlet and the shoreline inlet. These are both, once again, auto eject plugs, and that was a 20 amp plug. This is your master battery switch, which is the silver quarter turn on-off switch. To the right, you'll find your engine transmission diagnostic port. And then just beneath that, you'll find your ABS diagnostic, DPN regen, engine diagnostic, and the regen inhibit switch. Let's move up onto the dash, left-hand side of the dash of the operator. You'll find first your ignition switch, and then just above that, you'll find the start switch. As you move slightly to the right, you'll find your headlight and parking light on-off, panel dim and brighten switch, and then you'll find this small EM switch, which stands for emergency master. Moving to the dash, you're going to find your transmission DEF level, water, and oil pressure. Located in the center, you'll find your tachometer and speedometer. And then to the right side of the cluster is where you'll find your fuel, volts, front and rear air pressures, and then directly in the center above and below the speedometer is where you'll find additional diagnostic information that will be displayed. Down in the lower section is a digital diagnostic information, and we move to the right hand side of the steering column is where you'll find your OK to engage the high idle. It is a green indicator light and a switch next to it. Just down about right knee height you'll find your pump to road and road to pump. This is the actuation switch for engaging your pump. You'll also find two indicators, one pump engaged and the other will illuminate when the pump is OK to utilize for OK to pump. On the right hand side of that you're going to find your mirror controls. Top one is for your main mirror and the lower one is for the convex. Just above that you'll find your pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. To the right you'll find your Allison transmission pad with a digital readout. And then as we moved just slightly to the right or above the Allison transmission pad, we'll find the engine brake on and off, also low, medium, and high for the engine brake, mechanical siren, load manager, and your mirror heat. Moving just up from that, you're going to find your FireCom control module. You'll also find above that the Wheelin traffic advisor. And just off to the right hand side within reach of the driver, you'll find your windshield wiper control, push to apply fluid. This is going to be your climate control just in front of the dash, accessible by the passenger and the operator. And then located in the center is your Wheelin speaker system for your siren and PA system. Brief look overhead of the operator. We'll start on the left hand side. Emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Once these switches have been engaged, you'll find the light or switch will actually illuminate, indicating that it is on. Moving to the right, we're going to find first your Opticom on and off switch, the air horn, which is a selector switch for air horn or electric horn. You also have perimeter lights, and then in red you have a siren brake. Moving slightly to the right, you're going to find your front flood, driver's side cab flood, passenger side cab flood, driver's side body scene, and passenger side body scene. And then all the way to the far right, you'll find your rear scene light. Let's move over directly in the center is where you're going to find seatbelt information with the Pierce logo. Red indicating someone is in the seat, although they are not buckled. Green indicating that someone is in the seat and they are properly buckled. Let's move just underneath this slanted area where you'll find first this red puck style light. This is the do not move your apparatus when the light is on. You have a compartment or a door ajar. Also in the same area is where you'll find your FireCom module for your wireless system. And then you'll also find your FireCom headsets. Let's go back outside of the apparatus. You'll find your Goodyear tires with Alcoa wheels. As we move mid-cab once again, this is going to be a warning light side facing. Let's go to the rear section of the apparatus where you'll find once again on all points of entry those warning stickers for advice in seatbelt use, and you also need to seek additional information regarding those warning labels. Up onto the hinge section you'll find an assist grab handle here in red. You can see on the driver's side you do have a enclosed compartment. It does have a roll-up compartment door with a shelf and also 12-volt access once inside and LED lighting. In between the apparatus in the rear you'll find this access door, which is for your engine oil and also your transmission. These are the checkpoints for daily checks. Moving to the rear wall of the apparatus you'll find two forward-facing SCBA seats, and overhead you'll find the FireCom attachment point and also headset hangers. Let's move to the outside of the apparatus, midsection. We'll first talk about the upper section here, which is where your crosslays are. We'll also talk just beneath the apparatus for some of the drains, and then we'll start first with the section here regarding some of the components within the pump panel. Let's first take a look up top. This is the netting here to protect your hose from falling out, and there are also underneath you'll find the foam pump discharge drain and the foam pump intake drain. Let's start in the upper left hand corner, or correction, let's start in the upper right hand corner with the master intake. This is the gauge on the left. Moving to the right, you'll find your master discharge, and in between you'll find your test port gauge for vacuum and pressure. Just to the right of this is where you'll find a set of switches. First, your panel lights. You'll also find a light that illuminates if your pump is properly engaged. You also have some driver passenger side floodlights, in addition with scene lights for the driver and passenger side also. Let's move to the far left-hand side, just underneath the discharge area. This is the number 2 crosslay. You can see it is labeled and it is also in white. It also has red indication that it is foam capable. This is your Husky 3 foam system specifications and also your foam system instructions. These placards are helpful. As we move to the right-hand side, we're going to find the control module for your Husky system and also the foam level for tank A. As we move up, the system on-off is the green button. Your foam percentage will give you a digital readout. You can increase or decrease the foam percentages. There's also a prime, and then you also have some status system lights. Moving to the right, this is your Pierce throttle pressure governor. And then move further down beneath that, you'll find an amber light for your check transmission if illuminated. To the far right, this is for the pump operator. This is a location for plugging in your headset. And then as we move from left to right, you have your number 1, number 2, and a 2.5-inch crosslay. All of those are foam capable. Moving to the left, you'll find your deluge discharge and also a gauge for that. Just beneath the check engine, or check transmission, I should say, is your audible speaker. There is adjustment to it, turn right to left. And you'll also find number 2 passenger side discharge and your water level. Moving down to the next section here, just a brief image, and we'll cover those individual items. First, starting with your large diameter discharge in green. There is also a pressure gauge and also an indication for your valve, whether it's open or closed. Your fire pump primer, push to prime. There are also priming instructions here that your for best performance needs to be at 1,000 RPMs. Just beneath that, you're going to find your auxiliary 2.5-inch inlet. And moving to the right, you'll find the Pierce logo, which is your large diameter intake. Just to the right to that, you will find a placard regarding only trained personnel should operate this vehicle. As we move upward, you'll find your job number here in reference to the test pressures for 150, 200, and 250 psi. This placard gives you information on the RPMs and also the GPMs associated with those test pressures. Moving to the right of the placard is where you'll find your foam tank fill, also the lever regarding tank or fill location. Down across the bottom is where you're going to find all of your drains. They are clearly labeled. These are lift style levers. And as we move further to the right, you'll also find this placard regarding a warning not to mix different types of foams together. Let's go back outside, take a look at the body itself. We have 3 compartment spaces here. We'll talk a little bit about those. Underneath the body, you'll find your folding wheel chocks, both in front and rear of the rear tire. Let's look inside. You can see in the top, you have some pull-out shelves and also pegboard. Moving up to the very top of the apparatus is where you'll find your large diameter 6-inch suction hose. And then as we move back down, both front and rear of the apparatus, you'll find SCBA storage locations. They do have bottle straps for those. Located in the center compartment, we're going to find adjustable shelving racks. And as we move further down, you'll find a location for bottle storage and then also your fill locations for your diesel fill and also your DEF. The silver cap is for diesel, and then as you flip this lever down, you'll find access to the blue cap, which is your DEF 4.5 gallon tank. Let's move to the rear compartment. Once again, you'll find a pull-out shelf. The mechanism to open is on the lower right-hand side of the rollers. And as we move to the very back, you'll find a side-facing emergency light and then also, side-facing floodlight and an emergency light. Just a quick brief image here of the rear of the apparatus. We'll break down some of the components, first starting with the brake, turn, reverse, and an emergency light in this cluster. As we move up, you'll find your rear scene lights and also the hose bed lights just inside those pucks. Moving up to the very top is where you're going to find a reverse or scene light that faces to the rear. And then you're also going to find in the cutout you have step lighting and also a fold down step. Also located here are some warning indicators that you shouldn't ride on the back of the apparatus. There is fall hazard. And as we move up to the very top, you'll find your 2.5-inch rear discharge. Moving up onto the top, you'll find adjustable hose bed. And as we look to the dunnage area, you'll find the location where you have top fill for your water tank. Moving over, you'll also find your foam tank fill for tank A, and you'll also find that warning sticker not to mix foams. And then at the very top, you'll find master stream device with an extended gun on that. To the right, you're going to find the fill location. That black access point is for filling your hydraulic fluid reservoir. Looking up to the cross lays, you're going to find that you have 3 cross lays. They are all independently available to be pulled out as a speed load and reloaded. And on the sides of the apparatus on the rear wall is where you'll find your adjustable floodlights. Moving to the rear, roll-up door, 2 steps as you can see. Once we gain access inside this area, you'll find at the very bottom on the right side and also just mid-level are the 2 pull-out shelves. Those are the mechanisms to release. Moving up to the top, you'll find your traffic advisor located in the very top in the center. And then you're also going to find your ladder storage. Your vehicle is equipped with a 24-foot extension ladder on the right, 14-foot roof, 10-foot folding. You also have some pike poles and additional availability for more equipment. General view of the rear side of the apparatus. Let's move all the way around to the very top side is where the second fill tube is for your drafting. General view here of all the compartments. Once again, 3 compartments on this side also. Let's start in the very rear. This is going to be a pegboard style turn open, and once it locks into position on the hinge side is where you'll find the release mechanism to restore it back to its original position. Also on this side, you do have bottle storage locations. There are 2 bottle storage locations here with straps. You can see when the door is open now. Let's go ahead and move forward of the rear wheel. This is also a bottle storage location. There are 2 bottle storage spots here, and they also have straps for additional safety. Let's go to the midsection compartment just over the rear wheel. You'll find your District 1 Fire Rescue logo. And then let's look inside the compartment itself. You'll find LED lighting as you do in all compartments, adjustable shelving. I would like to point out that the exhaust is extremely hot, and be cautious as to where you park your vehicle. And we'll move now to the front compartment. You have a pull-out shelf on the lower section and then 2 fixed adjustable shelves just up from that location. We'll now move to the mid-section of the pump area. Just a brief image here. We'll talk about some of those items here next. First, let's start in the center. You'll find your large diameter Pierce intake. That's with the Pierce logo. Large diameter discharge up above. You also have information here on the type of pump you have, which is a Hale. And then just beneath that, you'll find all the associated labeled and color-coded discharges. Inside the access is where you're going to find the adjustment screw for your intake. And then moving to the right-hand side is where you'll find your cab lift. There are instructions here. Be cautious that things are secure inside. As we move to the front section, back wall of your apparatus is where you'll find the passenger side and driver side floodlight that's adjustable on a pole light. And then as we move just inside, once again, you'll find that strap on the hinge. This is for accessing for firefighters for ease and out of the apparatus compartment. Located in the back, you're going to find those 2 rear seats. They are forward-facing SCBA style seats. And as we move to the front passenger seat, you'll find first on the right-hand side about knee height, this is the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Just up from the dash is where you'll find the Go Light control. This is the spotlight on top of the vehicle. You'll also find the location for your computer mount or keyboard. And then let's look up to the left-hand side. This is where you're going to find your air horn, mechanical siren, and 12-volt access, which is a barrel-style access. Underneath the officer seat, you'll find additional storage location in this compartment. And then once again, this does have an SCBA within the seat design. Let's look up overhead of the officer seat. You'll find push on and off red and white lights. You also have future locations for additional components. And then you have your front flood, driver's side cab flood,
passenger side cab flood, driver side body scene, and passenger side body scene, and at the very end, your rear scene lights. Once again, those switches will illuminate when they have been activated. Congratulations, Whatcom Washington, on your new fire apparatus, job number 31830. If you have any questions as to the content of this video or have additional information that you may need, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.